I want to thank you all for joining Mr. Larry Cesspooch. We really appreciate you being here today to agree to talk to the participants of the Indian Health Services Emergency Medical Services for Children Hybrid Simulation Program. Really, this program is designed to optimize the care that children receive who are ill and injured in the Indian Health Service and tribal health organizations who report to emergency or EMS. Mr. Cesspooch, many of you may already know Mr. Cesspooch, know of him, or have seen him speak most recently at the EMRIC conference in Salt Lake City. To remind those of you who don't know about Mr. Cesspooch, he is a well-known storyteller and spiritual leader, and he is one of the Ute spiritual leaders for the Ute tribes who talks about spirituality and other native concepts. I want to turn the floor over to you, Mr. Cesspooch, now for this talk. And what I would like to have the participants all do is if you can put your video on, that would be most helpful. And thank you for those of you who have already put your name in the chat. For those of you who have not already, please introduce yourself in the chat. And then as you have questions, please put your questions in the chat, and I will monitor the chat and bring up your questions for Mr. Cesspooch to answer while he's already talking about that topic. We're going to try to answer the questions as we're going on throughout the talk rather than stacking them up at the end. That's your preference. Without further ado, I will turn the floor over to you. Thank you very much, Mr. Cesspooch.
Of course. Mike, Swipanike, Iberunike, Ganivet. I welcome you all here, say hello, and welcome you here to my home. This is a typical native home for most people, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of the commonality of native people, so it will help you understand to serve the people that you do, especially the kids. Those are our future, and so they're very precious gifts to us. So we want to make sure that we give them the best so that we can all have a better future, and that's my thinking. I like to start out my presentations with a blessing. I use sweetgrass, and it's one of our medicines that's pretty common among Native people. And as I go on further, I'll tell you a little bit about the sweetgrass. And we light this, and this smoke that emits from the braid here, prayer has no limits. There's no distance. And so regardless of where you are, it's going to touch you. And with this modern technology of Zoom, we are already connected, but with the sacred smoke, it's also going to touch you just as if you were here in front of me. And that's one of the reasons why I like to be able to see who I'm talking to, and to know that the medicine is working, and you hear me good, and everything is as good as we can make it. I'm going to say this in Ute, and I'll also say it in English so you understand what I'm saying. One wetke aptabay, no bagabani, wabuke, manerni, mapa. All those who are watching and hear my words, that they can receive this and that you can bless them in what they do for our young people. They are our future, and we want to take good care of them because it means a good life for our Native people here in the future. Well, one bomb and to say. So with that, most Native people are all spiritual people. A lot of them that perhaps are in the urban setting don't necessarily are connected like those on the reservation. And so they connect in however way they can. And so some of what I'm going to share with you is some of those common things that we do. In the morning, we wake up, and depending on what you're used to, most of us, we meet the sun. And I always do it with the sweetgrass. That's my uh, preference. And sweetgrass, it has the ability to change negative to positive and can make your day just nice and smooth. And we also meet the sun with water. Water, not necessarily Dasani, but water is life. Without water, we don't exist. All living things don't exist. And so, usually you speak to the creator, whatever you call him or her, or it, because creator is all of those things, man, woman, and animal. And we thank them for whatever the day before took place, what we're grateful for today. And we usually take a sip of this water. I always use this little coconut cup that I received in one of the Hawaiian blessings that I was part of, and just just enough to get a little drink. Say takoyak. That's our word for thank you. For my life grandfather, and I usually use sweetgrass to come down to my heart and everything. Heart is where the spirit lives, and go down my limbs and all over my body. So it's like I do yoga stretches too. So it's like the energy you feel after doing yoga. Um, and always look at that sun. The sun is energy. And we have ceremonies where we have songs for that sunrise. And so you want to ask that sun to bless you with that energy so that you can accomplish the things that you have to do for the day, or maybe there's something coming up that you're working up to. Sort of like this discussion today with you all. I've been asking for help to say what I need to say and to tell Creator to use me. We are all vehicles here in this life. When Creator decides to make us, Creator goes to his spirit world. Says, I have this life. I want to create. And I need this spirit. And this is what this person is going to do. Maybe he's going to be ill, and maybe he's going to have to suffer, and whatever each of us are meant to do here. And there will always be a spirit that will come forward and say, I'll do that. And so Creator then takes earth, and this is just um, some earth from outside. We call the earth the weep, and we take this earth, and Creator takes some of this earth and water and combines these. And this is all the trees and plants, and also all the animals, and of course us human beings. All living things are created this way. That's why Native people say all are relations, because we're all the same. And blesses us with whatever our mission is here in this life. And the last thing the Creator does is gives us part of its spirit. And we say that happens when you take your first breath in this life. Spirit moves on breath. So when you take that first breath as babies, that spirit enters the top of your skull, the soft part of your skull, and we call that the hole, the bewugget, and enters your body and comes here, and it's that energy that keeps your heart beating throughout your life. And as you go through life, you want to realize those gifts that you were given to be able to do what you do. You, as medical people, that's your gift, to be able to help people, regardless of what level of whatever it is you do. We're all meant to, Creator gave us two things: to be good to each other and to always do your best. And the service that you provide is medical service. You know how to take care of this body. I take care of the spirit, and everybody is given gifts to be able to take care of things. And so we go through life, and hopefully we realize those gifts, and we accomplish those positive things we're meant to do here. And when the time comes, that heart's going to stop beating, and that spirit is going to leave its body again through this beloved and go back to that circle of life, which is the spirit world. And we'll come back again as other things. And that's how Creator has made it, that we live so long in this life. As they say, as we enter this life, we all uh, are all happy, but the spirits cry because you just left that spirit world. And as our relatives leave us here in this life, we cry, and the spirits rejoice because that spirit has returned. And that's the cycle of life Creator has given us. Uh, Forgot to mention that water is considered the blood of life. Without this water, we don't exist. And everything has water. Even the rocks have water in them. And uh, so everything has water. Our native people are born, people of color are indigenous people. We are born with the blue Mongolian spot. And it's usually on our buttocks. And you can see it can appear anywhere on the body, but it's usually somewhere around your buttocks. And that is our mark by the Creator that connects us to Mother Earth. Mother Earth, when we use it, that was created to make us, is our mother. So this is our mother, the Creator is our father, and this is the blood. And so that mark is the Creator's mark that He puts on us that connects us to Mother Earth, and all of those, our fingerprints, are our connection to the earth. And that's why they're all different from everybody else's. And that's our connection to the earth. And I have traveled to, just because I'm going to say it, um, to parts of the country where I've asked that question about the blue Mongolian spot. And they all agree, and they have it, they call it different things wherever you go, but all people of color have that blue Mongolian spot. A lot of doctors, especially that aren't aware of that spot, think it's abuse, child abuse. And so they may call in the authorities to go see what's going on. And but it's our mark, that connects us to Mother Earth. The Creator created everything. And when He created us, He gave us this medicine wheel and to show us how we're all created and how we're all connected. So this medicine wheel, you can see, has always start here to my left, which is the mental, and you can see in the center is the spirit. And of course, that's in our heart. And then you have an emotion. Hopefully, you can see all this. An emotion. And then we have a social. And we have the physical. And with each of those sections, you can see the different aspects that they see all that. And I can send you this, and you can get it out to people who are interested in it. So you see that it encompasses all of those aspects of who we are, and these are the stages we go through in life. And so here we're children, and then we become adults, and then we become um, I'm sorry, it's youth, and then youth, words I can see through it, and I'm trying to figure out what it's saying, but also to be able to show you. And so we go through those different stages. We come into the first quarter as babies, then we become children, and then we become adults, and we become elders. And regardless of what time we look back to the circle of life, which is the spirit world, and the Creator is here in the center, and everything evolves around the Creator. In our ceremonies, we always acknowledge all four directions, just as I had talked about the east, where the sun comes up. We draw on that energy from the sun, and to the south, I know it as new beginnings. And from the west is the Pacific Ocean for us out here. And then the north is the cleansing wing. And when we do that, we're acknowledging the universe, because the universe is cut up into those four sections. And the energy that we draw from those is throughout the universe. It's not just what our eyes can see, but the whole universe. And it has its own energy. And when we use tobacco, tobacco is spirit. Spirit energy, all the same. And we acknowledge just a pinch of this tobacco and acknowledge each of those directions and ask them to be with us here in the center. Then this becomes the center of the universe. I acknowledged all of those uh, energies to be with us here. And this here is the center of the universe, and the Creator is with us here today. Each of those directions in the animal world have different helpers that take care of those. And so for the east, it's the eagle. To the south, it's the deer. To the west, it's the buffalo. And then to the north, it's the bear. And I can, again, one of these things I can send to you because it has all these different other aspects to each direction. Here's another one that talks about all the plants that are represented in those directions. And I can send you all of these. For our Ute people, we not only look at it as in directions, but we look at it as in layers. So the bottom layer is the underworld, and that's governed by the snake. And then we have the lower world, which is governed by the weasel. We have the next level, which is governed by the gray wolf, which would be our ground level. And then we have the upper world, which would be the mountains, which are governed by the mountain lion. And the higher plane is the eagle. So we look at things not only um, like the medicine wheel, but we recognize all the different layers. And I'm sure other tribes do the same thing. This here is a medicine wheel that I use. And hopefully you can see everything here. The medicine wheel itself is red willow, which represents all of the plant people. And the feathers represent all the animal. And all four nations of the world are here. Man to the east, the red man to the south, the west, and white to the north. And so we're medicine wheel to be able to show us how we're all creator is the one who is here in the center. Everything evolves around the creator, just like my medallion here. Everything evolves around the creator.
Right. I think we've lost Larry. Do other people see or hear Larry? No. Maybe if we all turn off our video, that will save Larry. Let's try. All right. And otherwise, I will close this out and re-invite everyone. Larry, I think we've up. Larry, are you there? We cannot hear you anymore. Larry, if you can hear us. Okay, good. So I think, oh, Larry, I can see you now. Great. We lost you there for a second. All right, Marcy, I can see you pretty well. Can anyone else? I just want to make sure it's not my internet, and if it's Larry's, I think you are frozen. I agree with Bree.
Yeah, I think his
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh,
You still
wonderful. I
there?
can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now. So we're all going to turn our videos off to try to save the bandwidth here. I'm
Okay.
sorry you're just going to see our names, which is not as
All
good
right.
as your faces, but we want to see your face and hear you. Thank
Okay.
you. Sorry to lose you there for a second. I'll pass the floor back
Yeah.
to
Freaked me out. Thinking, okay, what's up?
you.
Okay, sounds good. Next, I'm going to move into, you hear me okay now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, next I'm going to move into the different medicines that we have. I was out before we lost connection there. I was asking if anybody had any questions so we can deal with those before I move on.
This is Ardith. I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say thank you for showing the pictures and the diagrams of the medicine wheel and just the different stages of life. Um, I think it's really helpful because it gives us better insight into um, how I guess the background knowledge and the influence and how a Native person formulates their
Thank you.
their picture, yeah, their thinking and their understanding of health. I
Right.
like that you showed the one that has the different dimensions with the spiritual, the emotional, physical, and mental, because it shows there's a balance, and once that balance is off, then other areas are affected. So that was really helpful. Thank you.
Great, great, great. Yeah, and all of you specialize in some of the well. So, yeah, that's how just come from the medical position where you don't have any understanding because we're all the same. We all bleed, we all cry, we all laugh. We're all the same. Uh, they say we are the color we are because from the earth where we come from is what we're made of, and that's what makes us brown, blue, gray, black, or white. Um, but it's Mother Earth that gives us our pigment. Now I'm going to share with you the different medicines that we have. Um, you've seen the sweet grass that I used in the opening. This is a nice big braid, but most of them are smaller and they come like this. Um, most times you can find them at powwows or at various trading post stores that serve Native people. Um, but we call this the hairs of Mother Earth. And as you can see in this braid, you can see why we call it the hairs of Mother Earth. And for the sweetgrass, you can tell it when it's out and growing because it's shiny and you don't have to pick it, but you just smell it and you can smell that sweetness. We always take tobacco anytime we harvest anything from Mother Earth. We tell the plants, I'm going to need some medicine. I'm going to need your medicine. And I ask Mother Earth to uh, know I come here for that. She already knows you're coming, but you always ask for permission to be able to take. And you also touch the plant and say, I'm here to get your medicine. And I pray that you'll continue to grow and take care of people in the future. And same way, I recognize all four directions because Creator is right there with me as I gather sweet grass. And but the sweet grass I find is something that's very good for changing negative to positive. I use this in the morning to smudge myself. Um, When I go and take care of somebody, I use a sweet grass and an eagle wing. Those are my doctor tools, so to speak. Different other medicine people have different other tools that they were given to use, but this is what I use. And we also have the cedar, and the cedar, when it's wild, it's out there growing in a big bush, so it looks like this. And when it's lit, it you can crush it up to where and this is how I use it sometimes in ceremonies. And it looks like this. And they're like little pellets. Um, the story goes with the cedar bush is as all of the plants and things that were being created, the cedar was at the end of the line, and well, I lost you.
We're here.
Where we can hear you and see you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Then I hope you can see when I hold up something.
Yes, I see that.
Okay. So all of the plants were lined up, and the cedar was back in the back, and he seen the big trees, the redwoods and cottonwoods, red willows, and everything else in front of him. They were given names, and he was kind of the smaller one in the back. And when it came time for him to come up in front of the creator says, well, or the red cedar, we call it whoop, whoop. The whoop said, if all of those magnificent trees are in front of me, um, what what's my purpose? And the creator says, I have a special purpose for you. And he says, I smell different than the rest. And he says, no, that's medicine. And you're going to be used to purify. And so this is what your purpose is. And your name is Whoop, to be able to help people. And that's what we use it for. In ceremonies, we use it. Uh, it's all taken off from this stem. When we have to smudge or bless something, I use it like this. You can use this in a small frying pan and heat it up on your stove. Um, but you've got to have some pot holders to be able to hold it and move around your house. Use it this way, where you see it flickers, but it smokes thin, and I can go throughout my house. We use this a lot of times when our relatives pass on. And so we go throughout the house. Maybe there's a favorite chair that they sat in, especially in their bed, their pillow, and their bed, go throughout the house. And so what you're doing is all of us, we have residue, spiritual residue that we leave in all of the places that we favor. And this helps purify all of those so that spirit doesn't wander. It can leave here and go on to that spirit world. And that's one of the ways that this cedar is used. And like I said, it's to purify. So a lot of times you may have come across a lot of dancers use it when they go to prepare to dance. They use the cedar to smudge their outfits, and then they put them on and go in a powwow, or maybe they go into other ceremonies like our sun dances and our vision quest. The cedar is always used for that purpose. And I would use it if I were you folks. A lot of times you have instances where great trauma has happened and you just feel all of that heaviness. Well, you would use a cedar to come in and smudge the area, and it doesn't take a lot. Some people worry about the fire extinguishers and such, but it doesn't take a lot. The smoke penetrates everything. Not only does it penetrate our bodies, it also penetrates all those layers, including the spirit world, all those dimensions. And that's why smoke is used in all cultures to uh, to take care of spiritual things. As I said in the beginning, tobacco is spirit food. And this is just loose tobacco. And so that's what I use quite a bit. I get it in big bags, but I carry around just a little bag when I have to in my cars, because I never know when I'm going to need it to take care of things. Um, but in our pipes, our sacred pipes, we use kinnikinnick. And kinnikinnick is a mixture of all different kind of plants. You can see there, hopefully, um, the
Will you hold
different.
it a little higher, Larry, for us? There.
Sure.
Thank you. I see it now.
Okay. Yeah, it makes it hard. I'm not sure what I did, but I made my image disappear here.
I see it now, the kinnikinnick. Thank you.
Yep. And so we use that in our pipes. So it's not and any tobacco is grown. Um, we natives, we've always had tobacco, especially those nations back east. They grew tobacco, and it found its way out to us. Us Utes, we grew all the four sisters, corn, squash. Um, geez, forget them now, all now. But we tobacco from those eastern tribes. They worked their way all out here. So some of our people grow tobacco as well. And so we use a little bit of that tobacco in with the kinnikinnick that makes up our pipe smoke. You can also carry just regular cigarettes. This here is American Spirit, and so it has no preservatives or anything like that. You don't smoke them. Some people do. Again, it's just another means of communicating with the Creator. And even when we smoke the pipe, we don't inhale. We just use the smoke to carry our prayers. And so you would just take it in your mouth and you're praying all the time. When you exhale, you're exhaling your prayers with that sacred smoke, and it goes to wherever it's meant to go to communicate with the Creator and the spirit world. And so tobacco is used in all those different forms. As I talked about the smudge or the sweetgrass smudge and the cedar, if I were in a medical field, I would smudge myself every day that I be able to take care of whoever I serve. Um, and if your patients I would smudge my space. Um, before anybody comes in. So it's a positive place. And if there was something traumatic that went on, I would also smudge it again. So everything is as pure, like an operating room. You want that is free of any kind of bacteria. That's the thinking when you use these. You're clearing the space, or you're clearing yourself, or it's also used to take care of any physical things. I talked about a dancer using it for their outfit and regalia. A lot of times, we Native people, we come across uh, old things, and so we use a cedar to purify too. That wherever it came from and whoever, everything will be good with. You want everything good with this, so nothing bad or evil comes along with it. You're asking Creator to bless it to where only good is here. And it'd be the same thing as sanitizing all of your equipment for surgery or anything like that. Oh, I've lost you. Okay. Still there?
Yeah,
Yep,
we're
we're
here.
still
We
here.
see and hear you.
Okay. Um,
Larry,
so,
is it okay if
sure.
I add that sometimes with patients, their family
Yes.
members might want to bring that in and also burn it in the patient's room as well, just to kind of do the little cleansing, of the patient and the room, their environment. So I've seen that also, while working in the hospital.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the next areas I'm going to go into. Our people, when our relatives pass into that spirit world, we we keep them for 4 days. And the 3 days, we say they go around and they visit all their relatives, and they tell them goodbye. And a lot of times, you'll feel them, you'll sense them, their presence with you, and that's their way of coming to say goodbye. Thank you for whatever role you played in their life. Um, and they go and make their rounds those 3 days. And the night of the third day at midnight, we have a ceremony where we say the door to that spirit world opens up. And that's when that's our relative spirit can walk in to that spirit world and began its journey to the spirit world. And so we usually have a wake where we bring home our relatives to be in their home, spend the last night with us. And everybody comes and that knew them says their goodbyes. There's plenty of food, and you always put together food for the relative who's passed to be able to partake of their journey. Spirits don't eat food physically, but they eat food through smell. And so a lot of times, we make little offerings. So when we have any kind of ceremonies or something like this, gatherings, we take a little bit of food, a little pinch of everything, and put it into a napkin or a bowl. I always use napkins, and kind of fold it all up, and always use water or something liquid to hold the little bundle together. And then I go out and give that to all the spirits. And the spirit of all of those foods. If you remember, I said spirits in everything. Well, spirits in that watermelon, in that beef, in that chicken, in that salmon. So your offering is gratifying to all of them who sacrifice so that we could eat, so we can survive. And that's what you're doing, and also asking the Creator and all spirits to help into that spirit world in a good way. People always go like this when it's good. Aye, good. A lot of times you'll always see them doing this. That means good. And so that's still part of that sign language that is not like American sign, but the old sign Native people had. And that was our way to communicate. And they say a lot of the rock writing is sign language. So if you understand sign language, you can somewhat read the rocks, and that's what they left to help us to understand what was going on back then. But we keep our people, relatives, 4 days, and when they pass over, um, when we bring them home for that wake, we start a fire. Fire is involved in everything. Fire is alive. It's just like us. It needs oxygen. It needs food, which is something to burn. And it needs same things we do to be able to exist. So you start a fire and it burns all the way until you take that relative from that home and let that fire burn out, because the spirit is gone now. There's nothing left there. It's just like a glove. A glove is this body, but that spirit is the one that makes that glove be able to do all the things we can do. And once you pull out that spirit, it's just a glove. And that's what you return back to Mother Earth. And uh, as I said, when that person dies, that spirit leaves here and goes to that Pawugat, and it makes its journey around telling everybody goodbye. When the door opens and it goes through and starts its journey to that spirit world. And that's how we recognize our relatives when they pass. Um, Now I'm going to go into how our different spiritual people take care of our relatives. Um, when they come to your facility, you want to provide them with the space to be able to do what they do. As was mentioned, they bring in their smudge and may take care of the room. I'm always cautious of making sure there's no oxygen in the room, because you could end up with a bad deal with the fire and that oxygen. So most practitioners will take care of things outside, so where they don't have to use that smudge or that fire, and then they come in and smudge that room and take care of things. And that's how I do it when I have to go into a hospital. I always take care of things outside. Um, yeah, they may bring in like eagle feathers. This is a big feather from South America, from an eagle. Boy, they were big. They're like they're uh, condors, big like that size. But they may bring in their feathers, and the feather from an eagle, we recognize the eagle as a messenger for the Creator, because it's the being that flies closest to the Creator. And the feather itself, its stem is the spirit, and all the little uh, They're like the stem is like a tree, and the the fluff portions of it are like limbs. And so everything that's here when you use just one feather is the same as if you used a whole wing. And this is the wing I use when I help people. This one. I have another that my family has given me. My grandmother gave it to me. That's a family wing, eagle wing, that I'm the third generation to carry that. And I've I've done many blessings. Creators called me to go different places. And one of the blessings I remember was Bart the bear, who was Gentle Ben, the Bart, the TV bear, to Grizzly Adams. And he had cancer on his forearm. And they asked if I could come and help. And I'm going a bear, but I've done the same with horses, dogs, cats, all of those. They're all beings that Creator has created, and they are all the same. They have a spirit, and they all sense all of these. So when you bring them around them, they're a little uh, weary at first, but once you light the smoke and let spirit touch them, they're okay. They'll settle right down, and they know you're there to help them. And it was the same way with Bort the bear. Uh, the owner said, I'm not sure how responsive he's going to be because they just brought him back from Boulder. I guess that's a renowned animal hospital there. And they had him doped up on Benadryl. But I have a whistle I do with most things, and they recognize it. And I go, and I hear this big rumble in his den, and all of the sunshine that was there disappeared as he walks out. And I'm going, oh crap, what have you got yourself into this time? And he sits right in front of me, in front of his cage. And I tell him, in you, I'm just a little boy, but they've asked me to come and take care of you, to help you. And I'll do what I know the Creator taught me to help you. And when I did, you start up on the top of their head where that foregut is, and he puts his head down to the bars. So the bars are right here, and he's got his head, a huge head, and I touch him, and I come on down his body, and I'm praying that his body will heal. And when I go back up again, I do the other side. And when I go back up to do that, I come down and I see his eyes. I can see the pain in his eyes, and I start to cry. Because I can see that pain. And his forearms are up like this, and I see the cancer. And the cancer was like Alka Seltzer or Brono, I forget what it's called, Brono Seltzer. Anyway, it was kind of fizzing. And oh, I felt bad. And I come on down his body. And lastly, I take care of the spirit. So I blessed him here. And I said, okay, I've done what I come for. And afterwards, my roll up to that was I always asked Creator, once I was asked to do this, help me to know what to do. And things usually come to me in dreams. And I had a dream. I seen two hands and something in the hands. And that's all I seen. And so when it came time, I'm thinking, well, has a spirit, is physically just like us. So I'll take care of him the way I would any relative. And so after I was done, just like he knew, and he goes back into his den, and the owner comes forward and he says, stick out your hands. So I stuck out my hands, and he puts some of Bart's fur in one hand. He says, this is Bart's fur with the cancer. And this is Bart's fur when he was well. So I take the fur with the cancer. And again, I had him build a fire because fire is part of everything. And I put that cancerous fur in the fire and asked Creator to take it. And this fur that was well, I have it now in my medicine bundle. And so whenever I have to do something that requires great strength, I call on Bort to be with me. And I have a whole army of all kinds of animals that I've helped. Not me, but Creator. But I play my role to take care of things. I'm the connection, I'm the conduit. And you all are conduits too. You connect Creator to those you help, especially those little ones. That's your role. And when you use all things to make as pure as conduit as you can be, that's the best. You will really help them then. Things will be better. And you can tell them that with all sincerity, because Creator has used you just like He uses me. We have the drum that we bring in, and we have different drum beats. We have the heart. So they may use the drum, and the other beat is, or just. I have a song that I was given to sing when I help people. And so I sing that song. I won't sing it now, but it's just when I help people. And that lets all the spirits know, hey, we're going to take care of this person. And you may have your own little way you say that or do that. When you go to help somebody, you say, okay, our word for help is Bwetke. Bwetke, help me to take care of this relative. As I said, we're all the same. Help me to take care of this relative. And all those good things will be with you to do that. And oh, there's no better pleasure than to see that person again, all healthy and well. And sometimes it doesn't go that way. And so all we can do is, as people who help, is to pray for the best for them. I learned a lesson back when an uncle had cancer, and I had dreamt that he was going to be well, and I told him that. And he felt really good up until the time he passed. And I felt so bad, and I was going to give up everything. And an elder said, you're not God, But what you did for him was you gave his spirit faith to accept whatever comes. And he was good all the way to the end. And you did what you were meant to do. It's just me, just you got it mixed up. And so now I always just pray that things will work out for the best. Creator, you're the giver and taker of life. Help me to do what my part is here, and I'll leave it in your hands. And so that's what I do. Um, if there's anybody who has any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you very much, Larry. That was beautiful, and I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. And sorry that we had to go dark there, but I know we're all still here, and I'd like to open for those of you still on. Does anyone have any specific questions for Mr. Cesspooch? Lynette writes, Larry, you are an inspiration, an amazing teacher. Thanks for helping today and all you do daily to help everyone.
Great.
Well said, Lynette.
Here's my contact information if you need to get in touch.
And I can share that with everyone, Larry. Are you okay, Larry, if we share this recording with those participants of the program who were unable to join today?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you
It's
very much.
meant to go wherever it's meant to go.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no questions, I thank everyone for staying until 8 past the hour. And Mr. Cesspooch, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah, I meant to mention my last name, Cesspooch, means white belly. My great great grandpa had a big white birthmark on his tummy, and that was his Ute name. And so that got passed down generations, and that's what Cesspooch means, white belly.
Love that. Thank you for sharing. All right, everyone. Nice to see everyone. I'm glad Effie the baby could listen to that too. Take care,
Great.
everyone.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
good day.
Bye-bye. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
Mr. Cesspooch. Thank you so much, Larry.
Yes.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. It was super helpful. I'm just the more that I learn about different tribes and the cultures and practices, there's a lot of similarities. And, I appreciate you sharing the Ute, from your tribe, your tribal practices and beliefs, because I see some similarities and, that's super helpful to know.
Right. Yeah, we may use different things and say different things, but it all goes to the same place, same source, and that's what takes care of all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Larry, we hear a lot of stories about people who work in emergency rooms who like that don't allow families to come in after when someone's very sick or they pass away. They prohibit things like being able to smudge or light
Right.
fires. And I do
Right.
wonder, I think about that whenever we go into emergency departments, the loss that we're hearing about, a general loss of just the acceptance of the spiritual aspect of illness and death, and wondering as a program what we can do to really call that out when we're in emergency rooms on behalf of the patients that these rooms are meant to serve. Um, because we are specifically a group that goes into emergency rooms, and to see that element being lost. So that's part of why I know that this talk that you're giving is incredibly impactful. And my phone is blowing up with people saying, thank you for this. And I hope you recorded it. And sorry, I had to leave early, and share that with everyone else. Because this really is important for these people to hear, you know, and whether they're working in a hospital for 1 year or their entire careers, you know, this is going to make a difference. So,
Great,
yeah.
great. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Thank you so much.
Well, for sure.
All right. Well, very good to see you both, and thank you again.
For sure. You guys have a good
Have a great
day.
day.
You
Thank
too.
you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.